Welcome into the Brooks Bench with your host Brooke, aka Shiggy, and my co-host Megan.
What's up?
Alright guys, we're trying a little something new today. We're going live for our Week 11 recap. Bear with us if there's any setback, any lag. Like I said, we were trying something new. But let's get into it. We're going to follow the same format we do with all of our videos. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate you guys' support. We love to see your comments. We love to go over your guys' opinions and just converse. So make sure to follow us on all social media, and if you have Discord and like to keep up with daily stuff, we do have a Discord. The link should be in our description. But with that said, we will be answering chats throughout the stream if it pertains to the topic, but we'll go through our same schedule, regular scheduled program. So this is the Week 11 recap. Let's go through our injury updates first. First, we have Maddie Seagrass returns from a broken finger. And it's kind of been disappointing just because of how well she was playing before she got hurt.
Yeah.
But we all know with Satu back, it's the playing time was going to dwindle. We knew that. But it is a bummer. I'm glad she's back, though. Dallas is basically back to full health. Cheyenne Parker-Tyus day-to-day with her ankle. Tiffany Mitchell still dealing with an illness for Connecticut. Then we have Ari McDonald day-to-day with the foot. I'm curious to see if she's going to come back this season. Because they signed Odyssey Sims to a second 7-day contract. And they only get 3 7-day contracts, correct? I believe that's true. So it's like they're going to have to sign her to the rest of the season. So I guess we'll get our answer soon. She had Clarendon personal day-to-day. She's been out a while too. But Nija Laney, I know she was warming up last game. I think there's a chance she's going to play in this upcoming game. I know they're taking her slow though because they've already clinched playoffs.
Right.
There's no
Why
rush.
rush it?
Yeah. No need to rush back. But Carly Samuelson is also day-to-day. So with that said, I thought the injury was worse. So I'm glad she's day-to-day. I know Washington's really not in the playoff race anymore. But still, I mean, they would have been so good. You know, Brittany Sykes didn't get hurt, Carly Samuelson, Shakira Austin. But with that said, let's get into some transactions. Trade deadline was August 20th. A lot of movement happened. But you know who didn't do any movement?
Aces.
The Las Vegas Aces. Killing us. But let's start with the first trade. Minnesota and Washington traded Maisha Hines-Allen for Sika Kone, Olivia Apupo, and a 2026 round pick. Olivia was actually waived after the trade, and DG Richardson was also waived from Washington. What do you think about that trade for Maisha Hines-Allen?
I don't know. I mean, I thought Minnesota already had really good depth. But I mean, obviously they weren't confident in depth because she's come in and she's already gotten quite a bit of minutes, I would say, over the other bigs they had. So
Yeah.
I
like it. I mean, I think she's a versatile big. She'll give him some good minutes. I know she hasn't been playing that much though. They've been sticking quite tight to their core. I know the first game, she got more minutes than Hyndman, but then that quickly changed. Hyndman, surpassed her in minutes. But I like it. It's a not fresh set of legs, but more legs for them, more depth, as we talked about. For Washington, I know they're probably just building for the future.
I mean, she still sticks with their flow though, because as a big, she can be in there and bang, get rebounds for them. But she can space the floor too because she can still shoot the 3, and that's their game plan, right? Basically, everyone on their team, the way you make Minnesota's team is you got to be able to shoot the 3 as well.
Very true, very true. And then the Washington and Phoenix had a trade as well. We had Sugg Sutton to Washington, and then Phoenix got the rights to Swedish guard Clara Lundqvist. Man, Shook Sutton. I know you like Shook Sutton, so I'll let you talk about her a little bit.
Well, I don't think she's played yet. So it'll be interesting to see if she plays today. But because I think doesn't Washington play today? think they do.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how she fits in with them. Um, it does give them a little bit of depth. But I mean, like you said, Mystics, I don't know. I don't, why would they give up a big? I don't really know their game plan. They have a lot of guards now, because
Yeah.
they have Brittany Sykes come back. I know Carly Samuelson's been hurt, so maybe they were just looking to try to get some type of score. But Suggs really, don't get me wrong, Suggs can score, but uh,
Facilitate.
controls the games,
Yeah.
facilitates, exactly. That's what I was looking for. So I don't know. They have Julie Van Loo running the point, and I think she's been doing a great job this year. So I'm not really sure what the vision was, but we'll see.
Washington's interesting because I feel like they're crowded everywhere. Crowded in the guard room, crowded in bigs. And it's just like, I mean, we like Suggs. So, I mean, I can see the depth just in case of injury, but yeah. Let's go on to the most anticipated, the biggest signing of the week. Gabby Williams signs rest of season contract with Seattle. Man, I figured she was going to go back to Seattle.
Yeah.
She's already used to the players, already used to the system. I think it was obvious she was going to go back to Seattle. I know people were trying to push the New York narrative, and I was like, I don't see that. I don't know about that one. But what's the impact for Seattle? What do you see for Gabby Williams in Seattle? Is she going to start?
Oh, it's great.
Yeah?
Not right away. No. Yeah. I think she'll come off the bench to start because she has to get back into their rotation of things. I don't know if she need a refresher on plays and situations and whatever, but and Seattle has their little core going. They have their chemistry, so they're not going to want to interrupt that. They're going to just try to incorporate her slowly. Yeah. But Gabby always said she loved the Seattle organization, so I kind of figured they were high up on the list. It's a good pickup for them, and especially when we're about to go in the playoffs soon.
So if you had to rank, because I feel like you have your top three, you have New York, Minnesota, Connecticut, right?
Yeah.
Does this push them above any of the top three, or does this just leave them at the top four where they probably were?
Seattle can compete. I know. I think Minnesota and New York is up there. I think Connecticut, they started off the season so strong with their defense and stuff, but we've seen some cracks, especially since Mabry's come in there. I think they're still trying to work things out, and I think Seattle could have an upper hand on that because Seattle's starting to gel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if Gabby can come in and not skip a beat and then just add another, because what they need was another scorer, another guard. Well, she's a forward, but she plays like a guard. She can handle the ball. She can space out the floor. So yeah, I don't know. I could see them jumping into the top three.
No, I agree. I mean, obviously we'll talk about how Connecticut finally beat New York.
Yeah.
Which is good for them. But again, Gabby Williams and how she played overseas, she just looks so, improved so much. I think, I don't know, it bumps Seattle way up. And it's
yeah, go ahead.
But it's that as long as they don't skip a beat. Because obviously she's going to play with them throughout the season. What her rotation is going to be. Obviously, I don't, like you said, she probably doesn't start in the beginning, but she's going to.
Yeah.
And I mean, Gabby Williams locked down how many USA offensive players, and that's all she's going to be facing in the playoffs. So
that's exactly what I was going to say.
So I think this is a big boost for Seattle. I feel like though Seattle hasn't looked like Seattle in the past, especially Jewel Lloyd. Jewel Lloyd's phenomenal, but it's I don't know. I feel like they still haven't clicked just yet, because I just feel like their offense could be so dominant. They have so many offensive threats. It's just insane.
I think what it comes down to, because in my opinion, their post game has been pretty consistent. Ezzy and Nneka, especially if you're looking at us in a fantasy light, you can tell their productiveness has been pretty consistent. It really comes down to the guards, right? Yeah. Seattle wins or loses off of Skylar and Jewel Lloyd. If they're not having a good game, they lose. If they're having a great game, they win, or it goes down to the wire and crazy. They've had a lot of down to the wire, crazy buzzer winner, you know what I mean? Yeah. That kind of stuff. So bringing Gabby in, who like you said, is such a great defensive player, and she helps speeds up the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she can push in transition, and that's Skylar and Jewel. They can push. Their team is going to be good. I think they're going to be good. And I'll say it again, this could not be their year as far as winning a championship, but if they can keep this together, bring the same core back, oh my gosh, next year, whew.
I agree. But okay, Monique Billings signs rest of season contract with Phoenix. Good for her. Jalen Sherrod signs a rest of season contract with New York. That's awesome. Odyssey Sims signed a second 7-day contract with LA. Celeste Taylor was released by Connecticut and then signed a second 7-day contract with Phoenix. Caitlin Bickle signs a second 7-day contract with Connecticut. Azrae Stevens signs a contract extension with LA. And then Stephanie Talbot signs a contract extension with LA as well. I do want to touch on LA because I feel like LA has the pieces. It's just not translating onto the court. And I feel like they have all these good names. We've seen what Azrae can do. De'Erica, having a great season. It's just health. Staying healthy is really hard for them, especially for their guards. And it's kind of like they're gonna get Cameron Brink back. Rakia Jackson is killing it. Oh my God! If she didn't come off the bench in the beginning of the year, I feel like she would be more in consideration for Rookie of the Year. Just because she's been killing it these last couple of games, and sky's the limit for her. Cameron Brink, like I said, is coming back after her injury. They're gonna get a top, 4 draft pick. Future's bright in LA, but it's just there's some growing pains right now.
Yeah.
But okay, let's get into some news. So Angel Reese, fastest player in WNBA history to reach 20 double-doubles in a single season. She's also the first player in WNBA history to have 20 or more rebounds in consecutive games. She's also the first rookie in NBA or WNBA history with consecutive 20 rebound games since Shaq in April of 1993. Wow. She's now tied Tina Charles for most double-doubles in a season by a rookie in WNBA history with 3. And just something fun, she signed a sponsorship with Reese's Pieces. I believe they're having 3 drops of apparel. So go check that out. That's cool. I figured that was going to happen. They were pushing it a lot on social media.
Did you see the girl that went viral when that came out?
No.
She's the same girl that we hung out with at the... She made the Reese's sign. Yeah.
Yeah, All-Star Weekend. Yeah. No, that was cool.
Pretty cool.
Asia Wilson won the 2024 Dawn Staley Community Leadership Award. And then Napheesa Collier, third player in WNBA history to out-rebound the entire opposing team in a game. Good job, Aces. Napheesa had 18 rebounds. The Ace had 17. We're going to be talking about Napheesa and the Aces soon. She's also the first player in WNBA history to score 100-plus points on 70% or better shooting in a 4-game span. Man, Napheesa's killing it. Tina Charles moves into second most points in WNBA history. I always got to give it up for Tina. Delta Airlines has been named the official airline partner of the WNBA. Friday, August 16th, there was 1.22 million viewers on ION, second most viewed WNBA telecast. Those games were Phoenix versus Indiana and Seattle versus Atlanta. And then also on August 18th, Seattle versus Indiana was the most viewed WNBA game ever on ABC with 2.2 million viewers. We love to see it.
I just want to throw out, too, that what's so crazy about that's a great stat. I love seeing that kind of thing, right? I love to see us grow. I love to see people tune in. But what was still disappointing is that Connecticut played in the Garden.
Oh, I know.
And it wasn't televised.
I know. Crazy.
Like, that's a big deal.
But and to add on that, Maya Moore's jersey retired. Not televised.
Yeah. What the heck?
That's crazy.
And all they had to do on that one was just extend the
broadcast.
Yeah. Because and I know it's easy to do because what if the game went into overtime?
Yeah. Exactly.
So I know it's capable. Like, it's capable to do.
I agree with you.
Come on, guys. Let's do better. I know we can still do better.
I agree with you, man. Hopefully in the future, they get it together. But like Maya Moore, out of all players, you couldn't nationally broadcast that.
Yeah,
that's a little weird. But okay, let's get into the Week 11 recap. So if you're new here, we only go over like big upset games, just big games in general. Not teams that were favored to win or anything like that. So let's get into it. Minnesota and Las Vegas played twice, right? So we'll go over them together. So Minnesota defeated Vegas the first game 98-87, and then defeated them again the second game 87-74. Obviously, they're led by Napheesa Collier both games, and that's the game that she basically out-rebounded Vegas, right? Jackie Young did well against them the first game, and then Asia Wilson did well against them the second game. But I feel like the bigger discussion we're going to talk about, instead of this little recap here, because Minnesota just handled Vegas, the MVP discussion. And before we start it, I just want to say, I have been saying, beginning of the season, last season, Napheesa Collier is going to be MVP. And I feel like you and Brooke, I know Brooke's not here, both kind of laughed at me and were like, she's not ready, yada yada. And I was like, you guys are tripping. And I know Napheesa's had a consistent season. She got injured, missed a couple games. And then people kind of forgot about her, even though I was like, no, come on. She's been having a good enough season. But I understand what Asia Wilson is doing. Look, I wore her shirt today. She's probably having one of the most efficient seasons we've seen. If she continues scoring at her high volume, I believe she's going to be leading the league. It's like a record. I think Diana's was like 26 points per game, or 25 points per game, and if she keeps it up, she'll have like 27 point something points per game, which is historic. Okay, it hasn't been done in a while, right? So, with that said, obviously this is a two-man race. There's no one else that we're really going to talk about. Right. So, do you see at the end of the season Napheesa beating out Asia, or this is just rightfully Asia's? Like, there's no more discussion on it.
Well, let's talk about it. All right. So, MVP, most valuable person, right? The media is the one that controls this vote, right? So, for me, what it comes down and what they look at it is they're going to look at individual performance, but then they also look at the contribution to the team and then how the team's doing. So in my opinion, if you look at it just off of straight up one-on-one comparison on how each one is individually performing despite anything about their team, hands down, Asia should win. Especially if she keeps this up through the end of the season, in my opinion. But when you look at the other factors, right, Asia's having a great year, but her team's not. Napheesa's having a great year, and the rest of her team is too. Like, her team's doing great this year. And I think that's what puts it more, like, gives Napheesa an upper hand, because people sometimes look at it as, like, she's doing great, and she's also contributing to wins. Asia's doing great, but they're not getting the wins, right? She could have a crazy game, and they're losing because her supporting cast isn't stepping up with her. So I still personally think that Asia should win MVP, but I understand that Napheesa, to me, at the current standings, has an upper hand just because, like, she has the wins to back her up as well.
Yeah, and I feel like in the past when we talked about MVP discussion, we say they always use a criteria best player on the best team, right?
Yeah.
And it's just hard because going back to last season's MVP discussion, you had Alyssa Thomas killing it with the triple doubles, never been done before. Asia Wilson was having an outstanding season, but Breanna Stewart was on the best team. And I know we were rocking with Alyssa Thomas because it's more like, that's something never done before. Obviously, we're always going to favor, I'm always going to favor Asia Wilson a little bit more. Homer bias. I admit that. I said Homer bias. I'm not from Vegas, but I'm just saying bias. But I was even saying Alyssa Thomas, man, this is something we've never seen. She's having a great season. Connecticut is a tough opponent, and they still gave it to Breanna Stewart. I feel like the narrative, though, of the fourth place vote from last year for Asia, how she's come out this season, I still think is going to push her to that MVP, winning that MVP. But And I get it because I love Napheesa Collier. I've been saying that she has been killing it the entire season when no one was talking about it. Everyone's just starting to talk about it now because they just dealt the Aces. They just like the Aces could not keep up. Like Minnesota's tough. Minnesota looks really good. They have the necessary supporting cast. They're consistent. They're really good on defense. They're clicking, and it's cool to see, right? So I'm curious to see how it's voted.
It's gonna be hard. Imagine. Okay, so answer this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if Vegas doesn't clinch 4th or 5th seed.
I know.
Can you still give someone the MVP?
I don't think so.
I know. I don't either. I think, it's most valuable player. Who brings the most value to their team is really how they define it. And I think if they can't, at this point, they have to clinch 4th. It's do or die. If you clinch 4th, then I think it still makes it
coin toss.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if they drop,
yes.
So every game moving forward, Vegas, you gotta step it up. And with Seattle getting Gabby, they're not gonna make it easy.
And
I think they have the upper hand of the other teams. Well, Indiana's on a hot streak, but
so I agree with you because let's talk about it. So like New York probably gets the 1 seed, right? And then you have Connecticut at the 2. And let's just say hypothetically, Minnesota's at the 3, Vegas ends at the 4. Okay. Back to back, they kept their teams, relatively high in the standings. But Aces dropped to 5, or they dropped to 6, and then you're like, what the heck? Then it's kind of like more seeded doubt. But I think if they end closer, 3-4, in the standings, I think Asia still pulls it out. I mean, the stats, if you hit head-to-head, the stats, I mean, Asia overtakes Napheesa, right? Except for, like, assists. I think it's assists and steals. But Asia's having an efficient. I saw a tweet that said, like, her use is, like, 30%. And in that 30%, she's, like, the most efficient player. Like, she's having one of the most efficient seasons in WNBA history, which we have to take into account. And she is the most valuable player to the Aces. Like, we all have to understand that. Without Asia,
yeah,
their
record would be even worse.
Exactly. And it's kind of like, during the stretch that Napheesa was out, Minnesota didn't do horrible.
Right.
If Asia was out for the Aces, I don't know if they'd win a game. You know what I'm saying? But I understand. Most valuable player on the best team. Best player, best team. It's always been that way. But we have said that's unfortunate. We always have not agreed with that. Would you say that?
Yeah. And I want to take this moment to address our chat real quick, because it kind of goes in line with what we're talking about right now. So what'd you say? So Randolph here stated that the Olympics might have played a big role in the Aces game and how it's going to translate finishing the rest of the season, right? Because did the Olympics affect the Aces, right? To have 4 of your starters make the Olympic team and be away competing, tire them out. I mean, especially when you look at an Aces team that doesn't have depth, right? We all know that. They don't have depth, and they play their starters minutes. They just started, Becky just started going into her bench a little more again. But, does that play a big role? Does that affect Asia getting MVP? Because they had to pull 4 starters to go to the Olympics.
I mean, it's a viable discussion. It's a viable point. And it's kind of like, I saw a joke where it's like, Cheryl Reeve played Asia Wilson so much in the Olympics, so she'd be tired when she got back.
Hey.
But it's also funny because it's like, okay, we had 3 MVP contenders for the W in the Olympics. Asia, Breonna Stewart, Napheesa. And who shined? Asia Wilson.
Asia.
MVP of the Olympics. So, I mean, there's, like, other things that's kind of, like, that goes into it. But it's, like, to kind of end this discussion and wrap it up in a little bow, do you think the voters for this WNBA MVP award are going to have 2 controversial votes back to back? I don't know. I think they play it safe. I don't know, though. I don't know. I wouldn't want to be a voter. How about that?
Yeah.
So, good luck. I told you guys, Napheesa Collier is going to be MVP of this league, though, soon. Like, it's coming. She's just dominant. But okay. Let's go into the rest of our recap. Atlanta defeats Phoenix 72-63. Led by Alicia Gray, 21 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Tina Charles, 12 points, 17 rebounds. Ryan Howard, 19 points, 3 assists. And Phoenix was led by Kalia Copper, 22 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Then they played again for Phoenix won and beat Atlanta 82-80. Another close game, though. So I feel like these two teams right here, wild cards to me. They can bring it and they're gonna beat you, or it's kind of like you could beat them. With that said, Phoenix and Atlanta, who has the most juice to make it through the playoffs, do you think? If Atlanta makes it. We all know Atlanta's still on the bubble, still behind Chicago. And I guess Phoenix, probably will end at the 6 or 7 seed, depending on how Indiana does. So let's just start with Phoenix. Do you think Phoenix has enough juice to make it through the playoffs?
Yeah, I think they have some veterans on the team that know what to do. They can turn it on. Kalia Copper herself, she can win games, right?
Yeah, she can.
So I do think they have what it takes. And the only reason is Atlanta came back from Olympics on a hot streak. They did. They had to make you eat your words, huh?
I already admitted that. It's fine, Atlanta. Yeah.
But I also do think that, the veterans in Phoenix are going to, make sure that they make playoffs. So,
yeah. It is bummer about Rebecca Allen's situation. I feel like they'd be a little bit stronger with Rebecca Allen healthy. I think she's going to come back, obviously, but, hamstrings are tricky. Re-aggravation is there. And just trying to get back to full strength is always there. How do you feel about Atlanta? Do you think they're going to squeeze in with their recent performances? Right now, I'll give you the standings. So Chicago is at the 8th seed, 11-18. Indiana is the 7th seed, 13-16. And Atlanta is right there, 10-18. Ooh, that's close. Yeah.
I think it is close. I think the one to worry is Chicago. They've also been having some close games. Yeah. But I think that any of the 8 teams that's really on the bubble would be them.
Okay.
And Atlanta could potentially snag it from them.
Okay.
Because I only see Indiana moving up. I think Indiana.
They're 3 games behind.
Yeah, I think they could try to get the 6th seed potentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Chicago's the one on the bubble and the one that should be worried.
Yeah. Okay. Last game, last recap. The Sun finally defeat the Liberty 72-64, led by Dejanay Carrington, 13 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Marina Mabry, 15 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. And Brianna Stewart led the Liberty, 15 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists. I know they were out without Benijah. I know Sabrina just got back from her neck injury. She didn't shoot the best. I understand all those points. But did the Marina Mabry trade solidify the Suns' path to a championship? We gotta talk about it. They finally beat New York. What are your thoughts?
I think playoffs are gonna be tough this year. I think any of the top 4 or 5 teams all have a chance. Their teams are looking great. You can say with any team, any given night, are you going to be hitting? Are you not going to be hitting? The thing about Connecticut is that they are not skipping a beat when it comes on the defensive end. And I think that helps a lot. So, it's going to be a great postseason.
Well, hopefully for Connecticut, they end up on the opposite side of the bracket from New York.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, we already talked about the Marina Mabry trade, in past videos, and we said it was a good trade. They need a consistent 3-point shooter. Mabry stepped it up on the defensive end. And I think, you know how like a team, we played sports and it like you always face that team in conference that always has your number, but then you beat them that one time and you're like, oh, it's possible, like we can actually do this. And the timing of the win I think is great later in the season. They got Mabry, the trade's working out, and I think, you know how they say when a shooter needs to see a shot go in before they start going off.
Yeah.
I think this could, this might help them out a little bit. I know Benijah was out. I get that part. Phoebich, I think, man, that's the MVP right there of New York. If they win, it's gonna have to do a lot with her. She has stepped up tremendously. A big guard that's really good on the defense, can hit a three on the offense. I love her. I think she was a great signing for New York. I will never stop talking about her. But I don't know. I think the Sun can do it. I don't think it's gonna be as like, last year was glaring, like it's like, oh, Connecticut's not gonna win. Liberty had their number. So I think moving forward, I think it's gonna be a better competition. Excited to see Benijah back, to see how she clicks. Because question, how well Phoebich is doing in the starting lineup? Are they taking her out when Benijah comes back?
I just think it depends on how Benijah's doing. We don't get to see how
slowly
she's
comes back.
Yeah.
Restriction.
Yeah.
But when she's ramped up, okay, we could talk about Courtney Vandersloot. I don't think she'll ever sit Courtney Vandersloot. So Phoebich off the bench. I don't know.
But I mean, that might be good though. Sometimes it's good having that energy off the bench. So
true. That is true. So let's go over the updated standings. Basically, I kind of went over them. But New York's number 1 right now. Connecticut 2, Minnesota 3, Seattle 4, Vegas 5, Phoenix 6, Indiana 7, Chicago 8, and then the bottom 4 we have Atlanta, Washington, Dallas, LA. I mean, okay. Is it even possible? I mean, it is possible because they haven't ruled out anyone. You know how they're like eliminated from contention?
Yeah, no, it's still close. Because the 8th seed only has 11 wins.
You're right. Dude, that's crazy, but it would be hard for Dallas and Washington. They're at 7 wins right now. I just thought Dallas was going to play a little bit better. Washington's scary, fully healthy. Washington's a contender, fully healthy.
But they just have bad luck right now.
Those injuries.
They're not able to stay healthy.
It's crazy. It's definitely crazy. Let's just do, every week we'll check in. Who clinches the A seed?
I gotta say, I think Atlanta's on a streak right now.
I know.
They have the upside.
I agree with you. I would have to say, okay, Atlanta.
Chicago? Jordan Canada healthy, man. It really helped.
And Ryan Howard.
Well, Ryan came back from the Olympics feeling great.
I know.
But I'm just saying, like, that Jordan Canada finally being healthy and now gelling with them.
Yep. I agree. The only thing is Chicago, how they looked against Vegas. They have the right pieces. Cardoso's looking super good. And I know we were talking about it in the draft. Cardoso's ceiling is so high.
Yeah.
She could be so dominant. Like, it's scary. Like, Chicago, like...
Give it time. These rookies this year, though, man, what a class.
Shut out. I agree. Clap it up. For me, I think maybe Chicago still holds on, and I think Atlanta's the biggest threat to that. I would have to say that. But it's getting close. I'm curious to see how it all pans out. I don't know if we had anyone else in the chat that had a question that popped out to you. I know I saw something about Caitlin Clark as MVP candidate. I just don't think that's... I understand what she's done for Indiana, but this is a two-way race. To me, anyways. Someone said Atlanta has the Ariel said that Atlanta has the harder schedule to close out. I think you're right. I know Vegas has a hard schedule to close out. Dallas has a hard schedule. So that'll be curious. Angel Reese needs a jump shot. It's a glaring hole in her game. Yeah, that's something we've touched on. If she has a jump shot, I feel like her game expands. just the two, what do they call them? The trees? Is that what they call them in Chicago? Chicago's building something there. They're gonna turn things around, I think. But yeah, someone said Las Vegas could use Hamby right now. I'll let you comment on that because you say it every game, Megan.
Every game, guys.
Every game.
That whole situation's tough. It's just tough.
I do want to mention that finally Becky started Megan Gustafson. And if you guys are, like, been around, how many times I've said Megan Gustafson should be starting, and her game is more versatile than Kia Stokes. I understand that they respect Kia Stokes and what she's done for them in the past with their championships, but Gustafson, we saw her in Phoenix, man. She has a good high ceiling. She can hit the three. We need that threat to open up the middle of the court. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, thank you guys for tuning into this live. I know it was a little bit rough. I know it was lagging just a little bit. Hopefully edits in the future, but we wanted to try something new, have an interactive crowd. But if you didn't get to join the live, comment your opinions on what we've talked about. I know there's a lot of opinions out there, especially with the MVP race, and I love to hear it. I love to hear different perspectives and a reason why someone should be MVP. But if you're new here and you're just joining in, hit that subscribe button. We cover everything women's basketball. Join our Discord. Daily updates there. We have daily chats there just talking about women's basketball in general. If you guys are here and you're in fantasy, there will still be a live for fantasy on Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. But thanks again, you guys, for tuning in. We do appreciate all your guys' support. And we'll be back. Regular schedule. Monday recap video. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. We'll be back. Peace.
Peace.